May we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Corman?
Here.
Mr. Pavoni?
Here.
Ms. Perez?
Here.
Mr. McIrvin?
Here.
Ms. Witchy?
Here.
Mr. Person?
Here.
Mr. Prince?
Here.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all present.
Thanks, Jason. First item on the agenda is a proclamation.
A proclamation, whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, and whereas parks and recreation programs are an integral part of communities throughout this country, including the City of Renton and its Department of Community Services, which has a mission to improve the quality of life in our community by providing a safe and beautiful park system and high-quality, community-focused special events and recreational experiences, and whereas parks, urban forestry, and trails raise the community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. And whereas parks, open space, trails, and natural recreation areas and natural recreation areas planning improves water quality, protects groundwater, prevents flooding, improves air quality, provides vegetative buffers to development, and produces habitat for wildlife. And whereas recreation programs build healthy, active communities, aid in the prevention of chronic disease, provide therapeutic recreation services for the mentally or physically disabled, and improve the mental and emotional health of all citizens. And whereas participation in neighborhood programs build unity, strengthens volunteerism and community development, and promotes sensitivity and understanding of our community's growing cultural diversity while preserving our history and sharing its stories. And whereas our parks and recreation programs are vitally important to establishing and maintaining the quality of life in our communities, ensuring the health of all citizens, and contributing to the economic environmental well-being of a community and region. Now therefore, I, Dennis Law, Mayor of the City of Renton, do hereby proclaim July 2016 to be Parks and Recreation Month in the City of Renton, and I encourage all citizens to join me in this special observance. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Renton to be affixed this 11th day of July 2016, signed Dennis Law, Mayor of the City of Renton.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr.
I
Corman.
move that council concur in the proclamation.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Corman, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that council concur with the proclamation. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. I believe we have a number of park board members here, and Kelly, would you guys like to come up and please receive the proclamation, which I believe Jason has?
Great.
So thank you, Mayor Law and City Council members. We really appreciate your support of our Parks Department. And we have an amazing park system, great, fantastic parks from Jean Coulon all the way to Ron Regis to Heritage Park, everything in between. It's just a great program. And I hear rumor that there might be a few more parks coming next year. At least those are the rumors that I'm trying to start. I do thank you. I'm Troy Wiggestrand. I'm the current chairman for the board. And I'd like to introduce a couple chairmen, Cynthia Burns and Al Dykeman. And it's our pleasure to serve the community and the city and work with the amazing staff with Kelly and everybody. It's just a great program. So thank you again.
Thank you, Troy. And we, it'd be great to get the four of you up here so that David can get a picture of you. Just right up here would be great. You guys
Are you
want to
gonna
just
get
get
up?
up?
I'll try not to be all the way on the end of the darkness.
Ready?
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moved your chair.
Usually you wouldn't tell me that. We really appreciate you guys. The Park Commission works really hard. These three could tally up a lot of years of service to the city, and there's no question about it. You have an awesome responsibility to keep our parks and our recreation programs the way they are, and so thank you very much for your work. Okay, next is a special presentation from our Arts and Culture, Elizabeth Higgins.
Good evening, Mayor Law, Council President Carmen, and members of the Renton City Council. I'm Elizabeth Higgins, a planner in the Community and Economic Development Department of the City of Renton, and since 2013, I've been the liaison to the Renton Municipal Arts Commission. Actually, I would like to mention that most of the Arts Commission members are here this evening, and on their behalf, I want to thank you for this opportunity. The Renton Arts Commission celebrated its 50th anniversary last year, making it one of the oldest in King County. The primary responsibilities of the commission are to advise the city administration and the council on matters relating to art in Renton and to guide the implementation of the Arts and Culture Master Plan. The master plan was adopted by the City Council in 2010. These functions are what have brought the commission before you tonight. Representing the commission this evening will be Mary Clymer, artist and vice chair of the commission, who was raised in Renton and is a former owner of an art-based business in downtown Renton. Mary will speak about the importance of a community rich with art. Marcia Rollinger is the chair of the commission and a multimedia artist with a Renton-based graphic design business. Marcia will provide a summary of recent activities of the commission. Mitch Shepard is a commissioner who turns his artist's eye and camera lens to Renton in his work as a freelance filmmaker. Mitch will expand on some of the projects that have been proposed for downtown Renton. The commission has asked Jim Kelly and Charlie Rathbun, representing For Culture, the cultural services agency for King County, to conclude the presentation. The commission's hope is that you'll keep in mind what you hear this evening as you go into the 2017-18 budget discussions. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
All right.
Hello, my name is Mary Clymer. I am an arts commissioner and advocate for the arts here in Renton. I'd like to thank you, Mayor and Council, for allowing us to have this opportunity today.
And for full disclosure, you are the granddaughter of...
Former Mayor Earl Clymer.
Okay, that's good to hear.
In a growing community that is recognized as being one of the most diverse in the nation, we have an opportunity to create a multicultural environment that speaks all languages. Shared experience through the art isn't just a quality of life issue. It's a tool, and it helps us to break down walls, and it gives us a chance to come together and be and experience something greater than ourselves. I'm remembering lately when I was a kid, me and my sister used to know that when we would go to Sears in downtown Renton with our mom, it meant that we got to play on this concrete turtle. And at the time, I didn't really think of any social or sentimental value that this would have on my life. But that's the thing with art. It claims a space. It's there for everyone to enjoy, despite age, ability, and social economic background. And it creates an identity for all to enjoy. It becomes a part of a community's collective memory. It's something that you might not notice has any real importance until it is gone. And then we just have empty spaces, empty walls, and empty streets. Marcia is now going to talk about what the commission has been working on to help. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary.
Hi, thank you for your time, Council. I'm Marcia Rollinger, the current chair of the Renton Municipal Arts Commission, and I'm going to highlight some of our recent activities. So building on the foundation previous commissions have built for us, we prioritized the Arts and Culture Master Plan and decided to implement some small projects ourselves as commissioners to start the outreach and build some awareness for art and for the commission and the community. The direction we decided to take was embrace what we already had and be creative with it. This applied to our budget and volunteer-only staff, as well as to Renton itself. What does Renton have? Along with history, it has amazing potential and a lot of empty spaces. There are places everywhere that something special with the addition of art could be so much more. We decided last year that this weedy patch on Wells would then become our first Arts Commission-driven project, the Art Garden. So we installed it as a team just before New Year's, and this project has received extremely positive response from the community, business owners, as well as individuals who live here. As an extra surprise, in the evening, it takes on a whole different life with solar lights that we installed in the gravel. Another project that we've done recently is, actually in May it was installed, is the Dandelion Parking Lot project, where we took an existing place and made it a little bit more fun. Then in late June, we took the Cortona walls, the construction plain walls that were there, and with the gracious support of the building owner, thank you, Dave, he allowed us to put a duct tape mural on there to add some color and fun. Another upcoming project will focus on the Williams Bridge, and it will feature a take on the photographic studies of motion Edward Muybridge. I'm not sure if you know who he is, but he was the first to show horses' legs were all off the ground at one time. And so this will tie photography and film into a bit of Renton's history, the Long Acres racetrack. And so the passenger in a car, when they drive by, should see the horse gallop as if a film reel was coming by. Right, passenger, yes.
That's true.
It
Driver
will
will
not
be looking
look.
forward.
So along with these projects, the Arts Commission is funding grant requests from individuals and organizations in the community, as well as helping staff to fund events, and as well as participating in these events. But all of these things rely heavily on the volunteer hours and artistic talents of the commission itself. In order to implement the Arts and Culture Master Plan as it was intended, we need more resources. What could we do if you allocated more funding for the arts in Renton? Mitch is going to give some possibilities. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Marcia.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and esteemed members of the council. My name is Mitch Shepard. I'm on the Renton Municipal Arts Commission, and I'm also serving on the board of For Culture. My partner, Marcia, mentioned something, take an existing place and make it fun. So she has highlighted examples of work that we have done up to this point with our meager budget. We see more potential in other businesses, places that have culture, identity, history. A space above La Hacienda, for instance, can become something more than what it is. For instance, a building that's across from Common Grounds where you can see a little bit of damage that we have there. We don't see warts, we see potential. We see the potential to inspire. We see the potential to get people to take a picture, to capture a moment. A wall on Wells, just a plain space now, becomes a place to see and a place to be seen. How about a business that needs the color outside to match the spice and flavor that it has inside? These are just a few of the ideas that we see, partnerships that we have in places that already exist, the companies that have existing history that means something to us, that have identity. There's something eye-catching, there's something unifying, they can become something wondrous. Take an existing place and make it fun. What you see before you today is a dedicated group of volunteers, passionate advocates of the arts, who want to help to make this city a better place. We have a plan that you assigned us to follow. We were brought in to follow this plan. Now we are here to tell you what it will take to make that plan happen, to make this city something amazing. In the coming weeks, you will see our faces. We begin to tell you about more projects that we have, bigger projects, some that you're familiar with, like the OWL project and the Plaza on 2nd and Main, and some that are just ideas that we have to help take over our city, to take it to new heights. For now, I turn over the microphone to our esteemed colleagues, Mr. Jim Kelly and Charlie Rathbun with For Culture.
Thank you, Mitch.
Thanks, Mitch. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Members of the council, I'm Jim Kelly. I'm the Executive Director of For Culture, and Mitch Shepard proudly serves on our board. And I just learned something today, which is your Arts Commission is celebrating its 50th anniversary. You are older than the King County Arts Commission by a full year. You were actually founded the same year as the NEA. You were ahead of the curve way back when. You remain ahead of the curve.
Still are.
And we didn't know it then.
You didn't know it then, but now you really were, and that's pretty remarkable. And you have quite a number of assets in your community, both in terms of public art. You have an ordinance that you could really utilize to do some of the projects the Arts Commission has identified. Art today really is about placemaking. It's about what we do to distinguish our community from the one next door, what we say about ourselves with our infrastructure. And I think it's really important for people to have a sense of where they are. And one of the ways they do that is through art. You have one of the great history museums in King County. Renton Historical Museum is a terrific organization that we have supported in the past. I think that you need an arts presence that is as strong as your history presence. And I think that you've learned something about placemaking. I understand in the last several months you had somebody come from the outside and talk about placemaking through the arts. I think that's a very important thing. I was asked actually to talk about the economic impact of the arts, and to be perfectly honest with you, the thing I like talking least about is the economic impact of the arts, because nobody ever bought a ticket because it had an economic impact. People bought a ticket for an experience. People participate in the arts because they get something for themselves, and that's what's really important about it. You do have an economic impact. When people come to River Days, they're likely to stop in a restaurant and have something to eat, a commercial establishment. You don't have the Seattle Art Museum bringing Picasso in, but nevertheless, you bring people from surrounding communities to your community to enjoy the arts offerings that you do have, and that is an economic benefit. Charlie's going to talk about what some of your fellow arts commissions across King County are doing, partly to embrace new communities. We're all wrestling with the fact that our populations have changed dramatically over the last 10 or 15 years. How do we embrace those people? I love the wall that's just on the other side of the hall here that says "Around the World" in Renton. Each one of those little whatever they are, is different because each of those cultures expresses themselves differently. We should celebrate those differences because they're all about humanity. Now, Charlie's going to give you some real examples about what communities are doing to reach out to other new populations.
Yeah, thank you, Jim.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. My unenviable position in life is to follow that guy. But I want to mention briefly a program that we launched a few years ago. It was a short-lived program, about 3 years. It was funded through the Wallace Foundation and the State Arts Commission, and the goal of that program was to help communities reach out to their new immigrant communities. And we started, it was targeted actually toward communities of practice, and a community of practice is our network of local arts agencies around the county, of which the Renton Municipal Arts Commission is one. We had a forum here and a panel in which Elizabeth's predecessor, Jennifer Davis Hayes, brought a panel of local folks together. Part of this is how departments within a city can collaborate together. She had a panel of, the fire chief was there were social services, economic development. But the fire chief was most inspiring, and he talked about efforts they were making to reach some of the new communities, particularly the Sikh community here. And one of the challenges they were having was how to communicate with non-English speaking communities on very basic things like 911 and healthcare issues and heart attacks and how to protect their communities from that. And they realized that if they could do it visually and graphically, it could be effective. So they hired local artists to actually create flyers and posters that could actually communicate with these communities and build relationship and build trust. It was very successful, apparently. It was also inspiring. One of us, the Issaquah Arts Commission, went back. They have a food bank which actually serves mainly immigrant communities in Issaquah. And these folks didn't know what to do with the food that they were being provided in the food bank. They didn't recognize it, they didn't know how to use it. So they hired an artist to actually create recipe cards that were visual, graphic pictures of what you do with this food, how you prepare it and how you cook it. It was a very successful program. City of Shoreline created a mini grants program for their immigrants to get a few $100s to actually create workshops teaching whatever they do, whatever skills they had, which could be anything from cooking to weaving to basket making, singing and dancing. And it took place after school in those hours for mainly teenagers and high school youth to actually take classes. It's still going today, very successful. And the city of Maple Valley just completed a pocket park, which they turned a neglected, somewhat dangerous and dirty alleyway. Using an artist to design it, they created it into a community, beautiful community gathering place. It just opened 2 weeks ago. It's beautiful. And these are just 3 examples of how artists can actually come into a community and help in a variety of ways. That program in particular enlisted the support of every sector of that community, from the fire chief to the chief of police to local businesses to the school district. Everyone was invested in this particular project, actually, and it all started through a little grant through their Arts Council. So these are just examples of how arts, I think, can affect a variety of sectors, a variety of stakeholders in the community, and help make it a better place for everyone. So thank you, and thanks for the opportunity to be here tonight.
You bet. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. That's it. That completes it, huh?
Yes. Would you like
Well-
to meet the commissioners who are in attendance?
Sure.
Have them stand up, maybe?
Yeah, if we could have the commissioners stand up and be recognized, and we'll get Clay, if he's still there with us, he can get the camera on you. There we go. So you got to wave at the camera. That's great. Thank you very much for being here. We really appreciate your hard work, and this, our Arts Commission has always been very dedicated, and you're really taking it up a notch in terms of your personal involvement and your passion and enthusiasm. And I know Jim was talking a little bit about the economic development benefits of a good, strong arts program, but you know, for us, it's the quality of life for our citizens as much as it is anything else. So anyway, thank you very much for the work you're doing.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr.
Yeah,
Carr.
I wanted to say I love this presentation. What a lot of amazing ideas. And I want to get started on that dragon right away. Thank you very much for being here tonight, and just for all the enthusiasm and energy and great ideas you brought to this city. It's really, really welcome.
That's great. Thank you very much. Okay, we have another real exciting special presentation from the governor's office. And Mark, well, I thought Chip would come up and give you a big introduction, but he's going to send you out to the wolves by yourself. This is very good news. Very good news.
Mr. Mayor, Council, on behalf of the Governor, thank you very much for allowing this time to be here, but most importantly, thank you for your support and dedication to the great work that your planners do in this project and its ability to win the Governor's Smart Community Award. So thank you very much. Today, we are celebrating City of Renton's winning the 2016 nomination, the Renton Public Library. The new Renton Public Library was successfully developed by a collaborative partnership of the City of Renton, the King County Library System. A measure of success is receiving one of 6 2016 American Institute of Architect and American Library Association Library Building Awards for the Renton Library. Although we recognize this great accomplishment, it was more so the partnership that was resulted from the project itself and is truly the winner. This project had several contentious issues to deal with in its early stages due to the perceived necessity to relocate the project from its iconic position spanning the Cedar River in downtown. Environmental concerns associated with construction over the river was deemed significant, and to search for and acquire a new location. However, with significant community engagement that is part of the development process for any project in Renton, led to the recognition, however, that the site was beloved by the community. It became apparent that the development team needed to revisit the plan. Working together, the city and King County Library looked again at the original site and found a way to bring the library into its 21st century while safeguarding the fragile environment. Congratulations, Mayor, City Council members, and to you and your planning team. It really was a great project. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And we have KCLS here with us also this evening, and we appreciate it. We're very excited to receive this award. Our Community and Economic Development Division works really hard to make sure that we are at least considered on an annual basis. And so far, for the last 5 years, we have.
Yeah, I've heard these are quite coveted.
Yeah, that's right. So we're very excited. Thank you. David, you want to get a picture? Gary, you can come up, and
Yeah, team.
we'll get the council in the back here. Got one more coming, Dave.
One more right here.
I know because he decided. I say, make sure. Because the last time I know Evan.
First one, my face wasn't even showing.
Yes. I said, make sure you look at your face. One time I was. My eyes are like.
Don't let Dawn touch it.
I'd like to thank the Academy.
Nice. Very nice.
Oh, that's great, and we're really excited to receive that award, and kudos to our staff for all the great work. And it was, this is a very interesting project because it did raise a lot of anxiety and concern in the community, and once the council decided that the citizens really wanted it to stay over the river, the staff really got together to make sure that we had the best library possible along with KCLS. And it's something that just garners kudos from people on a regular basis. It's a very exciting thing. So, okay. Now, this is not that this isn't important, Raquel, but we're now going to a public hearing.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council President, members of the council. For the record, my name is Raquel Timmons, Senior Planner representing the Department of Community and Economic Development, and I'm here to present staff's presentation on the Sunset Area Planned Action Ordinance. My presentation should be fairly concise tonight and hopefully informative. If you have questions, feel free to interrupt. I'll begin by giving you a brief description of the site characteristics of the area as well as the vision, and then go into a chronological history of the Sunset Area, which will include information on the Sunset Area EIS, as well as the original Planned Action Ordinance, and then go into special or specific details on completed projects to date. I will then wrap my presentation up with just slight requests for minor revisions to the existing Planned Action Ordinance. Really, it's only 2 revision requests, and hopefully the council will approve those requests. So the Sunset Area profile commands a 270-acre area near our city center. It contains 3,000 duplex units, which were built on 240 acres of that land. The Sunset Terrace public housing community is a very small sub-area of the larger Sunset Area profile, and it contains, or formerly contained, 100 public housing units managed by the Renton Housing Authority. This area has great access to highways as well as public transit and is very close to major employment opportunities as well as shopping and entertainment. The city has envisioned the Sunset Area as a destination place. It's a place where neighbors and businesses are engaged. It's walkable, interconnected. It feels safe and secure. And as growth and development occurs in this area, we are intending on preserving the quality of life that exists while also making the area more attractive as a place to live and to do business. We are prioritizing making this area affordable to all incomes, as well as celebrating ethnic diversity. In terms of our initial planning efforts, we began our efforts in the city in 1999, and we formalized those efforts in 2 task forces, if you recall, in 2007 and 2008. There were directives that came out of those task forces that culminated in an investment strategy in 2009. We then used that investment strategy to formalize a Sunset Area environmental impact statement in 2010. And that impact statement, a very large document, if you remember, had several key findings, mostly related to the topics you see here on the screen: water quality, air quality, transportation, noise, parks and recreation, as well as utility infrastructure. And also birthed out of the environmental impact statement were a range of alternatives. One assumed no action, alternative one. The second alternative assumed a moderate level of growth. And the third alternative assumed the highest level of growth. And the city settled on a preferred alternative at that time that was similar to or slightly less than the growth perceived in alternative 3. I would like to give you some details following our planned action ordinance adoption. Between the years of 2011 and 2015, we had several projects completed as part of that planned action ordinance. The first being the Glenwood Townhomes. This is a project managed and constructed by the Renton Housing Authority. It is replacement housing for the public housing community in the Sunset Terrace sub-area. It contains 8 residential units and is located right off of Glenwood Avenue Northeast. Second project was constructed by the Renton School District, the Meadowcrest Early Childhood Learning Center. Also, in addition to that, there was a partnership created with the City of Renton to construct an all-accessible playground at the same site. And that's depicted here in this picture below. Kirkland Townhomes was another replacement project. This project is located at the corner of Northeast 16th Street and Kirkland Avenue Northeast, and also provides replacement housing for the Sunset Terrace public housing community. And to also highlight a second library constructed by the city that's worth noting, located at Northeast 10th Street and Sunset Boulevard. We have a brand new library which commenced construction in 2015 and has recently been completed and is now open to the public. And finally, the Green Connections along Harrington Avenue Northeast. This project was actually generated from our drainage master plan. It provides drainage bioswales along Harrington Avenue Northeast, as well as permeable sidewalks and enhanced landscaping. Back in 2015, city staff came back to the council to ask for revisions to the planned action ordinance. And I think it's important to note before I get to my request, those changes that were made in 2015. So this is to the Sunset Terrace sub-area, that 16-acre area. What city staff requested of the council, and it was eventually approved, was to have 90 units redirected from that larger Sunset area into the sub-area. And this created a maximum threshold of 722 maximum multifamily units within this particular area. We also looked at increasing building heights for mostly the market rate structures that are located up along Sunset Boulevard, and this would be for an increase of no more than 10 feet above the zoning ordinance allowance. The park, that is the center focal point for this sub-area, was expanded from approximately an acre to a much larger 3.2-acre park. And we also looked at reclassifying local streets which serve the area in order to provide better cross-sections for more efficient use. So getting to the request, we actually have, as I mentioned, 2 very, very minor revisions. The first being a shift of 7 units from Site 5 into Site 11. Both of these phases are managed and will eventually be constructed by the Renton Housing Authority. Again, this will not change the number of units within this sub-area, but just a simple swap of units from Site 5 to Site 11. And then the second revision we're asking the council to consider tonight is an expansion of 2 sites in terms of area, and this would be for the sites labeled as 14, 16, and 17. We're asking to add 2 parcels to this particular site, and you'll notice the difference between the 2015 site plan and the 2016 site plan here, as well as adding 3 parcels to site number 19, and this will provide for a more efficient layout for development proposals that the Renton Housing Authority plans on constructing. Before we came to the council, we broached the subject with the city's Environmental Review Committee. This was completed last month, and the Environmental Review Committee determined that there were no substantive changes to the findings as part of the original record of decision that would occur as a result of these revisions, and that those mitigation measures included in the project as well as in the final impact statement represent reasonable steps to reduce any potential adverse environmental impacts. Therefore, staff is recommending adoption of the amended Sunset Planned Action Area Ordinance. We believe that this ordinance will continue to implement the investment strategy. And after tonight's public hearing, we will have deliberations and recommendations this Thursday. And with an approval, we hope to come back to have first reading of the ordinance on August 1st and second reading on August 8th. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, Raquel. Any questions from council? Okay, this is a public hearing. If anybody from the audience would like to testify on the Sunset Plan Action Amendment, you're welcome to come forward. I don't have anybody signed up. What's the wish of the council?
Move we close the public hearing.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Prince and seconded by Mr. Corman that the public hearing be closed. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thanks, Raquel.
Thank you, Mr.
Appreciate it.
Mayor.
And you know, I said this was less important. I can't remember exactly what I said when I was introducing the public hearing. This is really important.
This is important.
This Sunset Area project is one of the most exciting things that we've done ever. And so anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, moving on to administrative report, Mr. Covington.
Two quick items, Mr. Mayor and Council. Wanted to just remind people our farmers market is open again tomorrow and continues to be open Tuesdays throughout the summer. We also have our Wednesday concert series at Coulon Park, so I want to encourage people to get out and enjoy those. We have a number of traffic projects, as people are well aware as they drive around. We try to do a lot of our work in the summertime when the weather allows. We've have added to our website finally as a reference so people can go there if they want to know about specific areas and what the projects are. They can go to our website, www.rentonwa.gov, and then /traffic impacts, and that'll get you to a weekly update of our traffic projects. We'll also post those on our Facebook and Twitter accounts, so people have the opportunity to stay abreast of those. Probably finally, the most important thing I want to just mention that for some may be old news already, but Logan Avenue is open. It is early and under budget by a sliver, a very slim sliver, but it is under budget, just a whisker under budget. But we're happy to have it open, and it looks wonderful. So if you haven't driven it yet, go out there and create traffic. All, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, Mr. Covington. Next is audience comments. We have several people who have signed up to address the council. When I call your name, please come up to the podium, give your name and city of residence for the record, and you have 5 minutes. We have a timer with a light on it in front of the city clerk here, and first is Dr. Linda Smith.
My name is Linda Smith, and I am a citizen of Renton, Washington, a resident, rather. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. I bring voice to an injustice that I believe has been or is being imposed upon those who are vulnerable in the city of Renton. I am a servant, a person of faith, and as a local pastor, I believe that we demand answers and deserve to know what the future for our families and children face in this community. We have a crisis in this region regarding homelessness. More and more people are homeless with less and less resources to help them along the way. How can we allow basic services such as food, day center resources be cut out without engaging the public or community in conversation? To not engage the community creates a level of anxiety, not only for the community, but families and individuals. In 2013, the Center of Hope was established in response to a growing need, especially for women and children homeless, having no place to go during the day or sleep at night. Out of this growing need, the city of Renton, you, Mr. Mayor, and you, the city council, responded by providing space and other resources. The Center of Hope was established, and churches through Reach came alongside to provide overnight space. Several grants and donations were received to fund space, staff for day center and overnight staff. The board of directors made a decision somewhere around the last part of June, early part of July, to eliminate the Director Center of Hope position and employment, eliminate the breakfast program, and to potentially reduce the day center hours without trying to find other alternative. It felt like a Microsoft corporate closeout. Now, I want to be clear tonight that this is not about me, but about families who are already broken, shattered, and are experiencing much conflict in the daily events of their life. They are used to broken promises, and to have the rug pulled from under them sets them back into a place of brokenness. The needs have not gone away because homelessness is a growing need in our community. Why are we going to be part of the problem and not part of the solution? The Center of Hope is a place of refuge for families. Since opening in 2013, the Center of Hope has, among certain services, have over 1,000 donors, have participated in over 801 case management. There have been 9,954 residents signed in for daily services. There have been over 11,195 meals served from the Center of Hope in this building, over 290 families served, and over 94 families have found housing. These are not all of the service, but a reflection of the management leadership provided by the Center of Hope. We, the citizen, believe that this injustice has occurred to these families, children, and men and women of this great city. To remain silent on the matter is a betrayal of our own soul and our integrity. The most vulnerable have no voice, so we come tonight as a voice. We have an injustice to the families and the children that have been shattered. In time of a homeless crisis, why are we placing families back on the street with no food and their security broken? Why are these mothers with small children supposed to do when hours are reduced? The library simply is not good enough. Why is a pregnant veteran mother supposed to hang out during the day when the day center is closed? Why do these who have been getting a breakfast supposed to do? What an injustice to the over 1,000 donors who make sure that we have everything that's needed at the Center of Hope. What an injustice to the many volunteers who give it their time day and night. What has happened in the city of Renton is a travesty and an injustice. We have helped so many families. Why are we changing that now? We were such a role model for so many cities and agencies. An injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. The families have experienced enough trauma in their lives. And to have the very person that has nurtured them over the past 3 years to suddenly disappear is disheartening, it's uncaring, and it's inhumane. These families should have had a time to transition me out of that center. Families and children are already broken and shattered, and to create additional conflict in their lives is inhuman. And injustice has been committed by decreasing hours that the center is available to families. It is difficult now for families to find places during the day to support their families. Injustice of not informing families of what is happening, having them walk around in fear and anxiety as to what is going to happen to us. These families deserve the respect of being able to engage in conversation about their lives. And injustice of pulling the breakfast from the warm up is inhumane. This has happened to them twice in the last 2 years, from Luther's Table to Harambe, and now they're back out in the street. There's enough food in the Center of Hope that's provided by our councilman, Don Pearson, to support that breakfast, but Reach refused to come and get the food out. We, the citizen, have a right to know what's going on with these services, as we are the voice and the advocates for the family. I think, in retrospect, the Center of Hope should have been under different management, with stipulation that no changes could occur until this had been brought to the city to find other alternatives that were available. The Center of Hope belongs to the city of Renton and not Reach. Reach did not want to make it work. I offered to give up 5 hours of my pay. I was only getting paid 10 hours, and I was working 20 to 30 hours a week. They wanted to go in a different direction, and I'm okay with that. That's fine, but not at the expense of human lives. children, babies, women, mothers, and fathers. We appeal to you, Mr. Mayor and City Council, to rethink the authority and oversight for the Center of Hope and to remove it from the auspice of the REACH program. REACH can still be a partner, but not have total oversight and accountability responsibility. I believe they have demonstrated that they're not reliable. You can experience with many things, but we don't get to experience with people's lives. If they pull the plug once, they'll do it again. The contract should be renegotiated and reassigned to a more established entity that has a history of integrity and stability. Mr. Mayor and Councilman, I appreciate all that you've done for this great city. And I know, Mr. Mayor, that this is at your heart. And so I pray tonight that on behalf of the vulnerable in our cities, that you relook at what is happening with the Center of Hope downstairs and think about changing the authority as to who has oversight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Smith, and we will look into that. Next is Nancy Monahan.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. My name is Nancy Monahan, and I'm a North Renton neighborhood resident. The subject I wish to speak to this evening is the fireworks ban policy. As is known, there are signs posted when entering Renton that fireworks are prohibited within the city limits. This recent 4th of July holiday proved to be more problematic than in past years because the North Renton neighborhood was bombarded with louder and more frequently detonated illegal fireworks such as M80s and missile-launched aerials. As a veteran, I can appreciate the importance of the celebrating of our nation's hard-fought independence and people wanting to pass that pride on to our children. But I cannot help but think of the effect that it has on others. Some neighbors may not welcome the obnoxious window-shaking booms after a certain hour at night, or fireworks offenders may not even consider veterans with PTSD-related issues. Also, many residents have pets living in their homes, and the fireworks make a frustrating situation for all. We called the 9 emergency number to report the fireworks activities, but unfortunately could not give an accurate pinpointed address or street. So we got on to Nextdoor application and began to read the comments of where the location of the fireworks disturbances were coming from. Some of the complaints were about the police inaction, City Council's indifference, and being left on hold after calling 911 for more than 10 minutes, and other disheartened responses. I would like to ask the City Council to consider putting more teeth into the fireworks ban and allocate more resources to solve this problem. In some cases, there were intoxicated neighbors shooting off firearms in addition to the fireworks, which cause unsafe conditions. Some of those suggestions that I took off of the Nextdoor site were if we can use the nuisance property ordinance in tandem with the fireworks ban. Also, could neighbors provide photo or video of fireworks offenders to the police when they are not available to drive by and actually see what is happening? Also, perhaps we could schedule a meeting to have Chief Milosevic to come and speak to any of the neighborhoods associations that would like them to have him come and explain more about what the police are kind of limited to do, or how they can help our fire inspectors if they need to come and have them intervene with them as well. Also, a suggestion that was made was if the city could hire a private security firm to regulate the activities down at Coulon Park on the 4th to free up the police so that they could go ahead and patrol the neighborhoods. Also, actually have the police get out of their cruisers and go up to the doors of the repeat offenders on an address if it is provided by a neighbor witness so that they can talk to the offender and see if they could actually get them to not do these things. I thank you for your time and consideration, and I look forward to the response of the City Council. And thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, thank you for being there. I just wanted to let you know and let the council know that within probably your next meeting, we will have a recap of enforcement activity that we had for the 4th of July and the types of calls that we received from the police and the fire department. And to answer some of your questions, there's absolutely things that we could do, particularly in bringing the police out to the neighborhood to explain what the limitations may be and maybe explore some creative ideas for the enforcement side. So we will definitely keep you informed on that in the future.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Perez.
if I can add, I just want to express my sympathy, and I just want to tell you that it's the first year, in fact, that indeed I personally have heard, this year specifically, I heard more than any other year that this happened. So just to express that for me, particularly this year, in certain areas, I live nearby the Cascade and Benson Hill area, and I heard more than other years. But I may say that also the police did respond to some of these neighborhoods 2 or 3 days before this happened. And I know that the 4th of July is really, really, really busy, and they did as much as they could. But I also know that the repeat offenders, they were doing it more often than before, and I don't know what exactly happened, but as the mayor said, we will be brief about this, and I'm really sorry that this happened to you, and we are hearing all of you because I did notice it as well. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next is Adria Crail.
Mayor, I'm speaking on the Center of Hope. Is there an ability that I can speak last?
I'm sorry.
Is there an ability I can speak after the last person?
Oh,
Sure. Put her at the end.
okay.
Unless I am the last person.
Next is Howard McComber.
Sure.
Thank you.
Howard McComber. I live in the city of Renton. I've enjoyed it here all the time. We have a lot of things going on in town. We have a lot of effort. I heard the wonderful things about the Arts Commission. I think that that's exciting. I was with Terry Breyer on the first task force and the second task force for the Highlands, and I appreciate what you're doing there. We have here situations where we're trying to help and trying to be a blessing to people. And sometimes what we do is we open up a door and more people show up than we had refreshments for, if you know what I'm talking about. It's a situation. What we have here is a need. It's a very great need for help and for support. Now, I will personally be going around talking to some of the businesses, and if you could give me help, that would be good too. We need more support for the people on the bottom end of the economic ladder. We've had, sometimes when we're trying to move ahead, we don't do it as smoothly as we'd like, but we're trying to do what everyone's goal is to help people at the bottom end. That's our goal. Sometimes we stumble a little trying to get ahead, but we're trying to get ahead. We're trying to help. I know that you folks have done tremendous support. We need more support. We need more everything because the need is here. We have people who are hungry and they need food. We have people who need a safe shelter. and we appreciate the city's tremendous support. You guys have supported us way beyond anybody else, and there's no town in Western Washington or any other place that I know of personally, but certainly here, that has given more support to helping us with the goals that we have. And we're looking for ideas, we're looking for help and support. I want you to know that I think that Dr. Linda Smith is a gift from God, and the things that she's done has been absolutely fabulous. And what we need is support and strength, ideas, and help from everybody. It's a coming together and working together to make something successful. I think that treasure we have up there, little art piece, is an example of working together, coming from all sorts of things and having a fantastic library. It's another parable of the same sort of thing. We have needs here. We need to fill the needs. We need to take care of the people. That's paramount. And we need to find the best way to do it, and we appreciate everybody's help. We get lots of help from people. We promised anonymity. Sorry about that. But we have a lot of support from a lot of people here. And what we're asking for is support for everybody in the city of Renton to come together and to help us. What we're looking for are volunteers and some financial support and some strength and probably ideas and suggestions and ways to make this work the best we can for the families who need it so desperately. These folks are in tough shape. I've been involved in feeding the hungry for more than 2 years over at Warm Up, and those guys are doing the best they can. Some of them, what you look at, actually that's the very best that they can do, and they're hungry, and we need to feed them, and we need to take care of the families who are desperate, and you guys do tremendous help. We just need your support, your ideas, and the support from the community, and we will move ahead. We're headed the right direction. We're trying to get there, and we're asking for support and help and guidance, and we will put our shoulder to the wheel. Thank you for your support and your care.
Thanks, Howard. Next is Ben Johnson.
Hi, Ben Johnson. I'm privileged to live in Renton, and I've been amazed in the last few years watching the council, especially the new people here. It's just been fun to watch you guys work together, and I've gone from my social circle. I used to be when I first bought our house, or my wife and I bought the house, we were kind of, yeah, we live in Renton. And now it's like, we live in Renton, and this place is awesome. And it's thanks to everybody in the city for working hard. I won't reiterate too much about the fireworks because you heard from another person from North Renton. From my standpoint, I've seen kind of repeat offenders go year after year get the warning. I'm personally not so concerned with somebody violating on the 4th of July because I understand that the police are heavily taxed. But the people that have gotten warnings and doing it on July 2nd through July 8th, those people, I really wish you would come down on a ton of bricks. Most homeowners know to go medicate the dog and hide it underneath the bed on the 4th of July. But the whole week-long, Fido nipping at your legs is probably getting tiring for a lot of people. If you don't want to do that, could we get permission to shoot back? One thing I would also...
I can answer that now.
No. And I've loved it. The city attorney's office and the city attorney have done some really neat, I think, proactive stuff, especially with the laws about nuisance properties. And I've seen the city use those laws well and not abusively or anything like that for legitimate problems in the neighborhood. And if you can do something clever, like create a permitting process for fireworks or something like that, and when people violate the permitting process, that becomes a civil fine or something to, you guys have done such an amazing job kind of thinking around these neat things. Another thing I've been really, really happy is to see the city kind of semi-unified in making sure that some of the regional authorities give Renton our fair share. everybody's done a really good job of making sure the city is livable, from people that have a lot of money to people that don't have a lot of money, and some of those regional things that we all contribute to really would do a lot of benefit in Renton versus some other communities around in the state. Sometimes we seem like we get the short end of the stick, and I thank you very much for going out on a limb and reminding those that people in power that hey, we're down here too. Not necessarily for myself, because but for the people that don't have the time to come here and don't have the working 2 jobs and that sort of stuff. So I thank you for doing that. That takes a lot of courage, and you guys work hard. I know some of you council members have shown up in several meetings I never expected. So I know a lot of you work really, really hard, and so I appreciate that extra going forward and doing stuff like that. Thank you kindly.
Thank you, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
Adria Crail?
Hi, thank you for allowing me to go last. Many of you know that I'm more salty than weepy, so this is a very important thing for me. I was a commissioner on Human Services for 5 years. I saw the budgets, I saw the need for REACH and the Center of Hope to be able to be established. I started volunteering last October. This is a very sensitive situation. I come from a childhood of domestic violence and a household situation. I broke the cycle with my children. And so being able to give back and being able to sit down there and talk to them and tell them my story and let them know that I'm a successful businesswoman, I've been married for 20 years to the same person, and that you can get up and out. It is a struggle. It is something that you have to be committed to. A lot of these women down there are damaged. They have no trust. They have no confidence. A lot of them don't have any education. When I was brought in to do community outreach to employers and to be able to talk to communities about getting these ladies jobs and education and things that they had never had the opportunity or never been told by their families that they were worth anything. And you sit there and you have to gain their trust. I started this in October, and it took a very long time. It took probably 3 to 4 months for them to be willing to come to me and to break the ice and to ask me for things and know that I was going to be there and know that I was going to be there to give them advice and talk to them and let them ask about my story and let them ask about being in a shelter, living out of my car with a 9-month-old daughter, living in what used to be the Crisis Catholic Community Services, and going to the City of Renton Food Bank every day to get 5 diapers. We have so many resources available. To cut these resources for these ladies who are in the situation with their children is absurd. It's heartbreaking, and it's something that it comes so quickly. Their trust, they're going to go back to exactly where they were when they entered the City of Hope, and when they came to us and said, I need something, and I call it the city because it really is. It's something that's part of Renton. It's something that's part of who we are, and something that there was a need that we saw. There was an empty space that was created to be able to utilize that and say, okay, we have an empty jail. What can we do with this? We can give and allow these women to regain dignity that they have had taken away in life or had taken away over a period of time. Every day we have someone come in who is embarrassed about the situation. There's no reason to be embarrassed. They didn't cause it. They didn't ask for it. But for us to reduce the services and change the people all of the sudden without that, it's going to take them back to where they started. There are children down there that need to earn this trust, and we need to break this cycle. And assisting them in breaking the cycle and getting up and out is what we do. Every day we have a different thing going on. When I get in there on a Wednesday morning, I'm go. I don't stop. I don't ask what I need to do. I go and I talk to them. When we have residents first come in to break the ice, There are small things that I've done. The city is generous enough to donate the toilet paper every day. So I sat there and I went to the dollar store and I bought little stickers. And I sat in the common room and didn't say anything and put little stickers on them because I don't know about you, but if you put them in a bag, toilet paper has a tendency to unroll and go everywhere. Okay? Cats, kids, whatever. So I'm sitting there and several people started joining me and they started talking and trusting. By doing what has recently occurred over the last 10 days, that is going to take them back to where they started. And reducing the services and reducing what they need is going to defeat the purpose of anything that we're doing. The city needs this. These people need this. And by them coming to the Center of Hope, they're saying, I need help. And that is the hardest thing for someone to say. I don't have food. I can't feed my children. We can't allow this to happen. This needs to be restructured. I request from the bottom of my heart that the city council look at this and regroup on this. I'm not going to stop volunteering because it's not about me. And it's not about Dr. Linda Smith. It's about the residents and the clients that we help every day, whether it be big or small. We get calls and they're not the same and they're not consistent and every story is different. But if we reduce these services, it's going to be far worse and we're never going to break the cycle. And I just request for the city to rethink how their contract is and their relationship with REACH and be able to regain what the Center of Hope was actually meant to do. Thank you so much. And
Thank
sorry
you.
for the crying and having to skip, but you know.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Is there anybody else who wanted to address the council, didn't get a chance to sign up? Yes, come forward, get a name for the record, and you have 5 minutes.
Thank you for letting me speak. Everyone, my name is Lainey Sickinger. I'm a citizen of Renton, and I'm also the chairperson of the board of directors for REACH, the Renton Ecumenical Association of Churches. And I wanted to provide some accurate, factual information about what's going on so that people aren't, that didn't bother to engage with REACH and the board, the people who had a long and heartfelt, really tough, obviously, decision to make about Reverend Dr. Linda's position, and then about the truth about what's going to happen going forward, because there are very little actual cuts of services. This was about positions. So I just want to be very clear about that. So personally, I come from, my mother was 14 when I was born. She was a victim of domestic violence. I have a brother and sister who've both been homeless periodically. This is an issue that is very close to my heart. I took leave from work for 3 years to get this thing going in partnership with Maggie and Reverend Dr. Linda. This is not about any one individual who founded the Center of Hope all by themselves. There were a multitude, hundreds of volunteers who did this. And we will never lose sight of what we are here about. I would just like to say that we went, Maggie and I, on Friday, July 1st, after a tough discussion and a unanimous vote of the board, to communicate to Reverend Dr. Linda that we were, in fact, going to have to eliminate that position because we were doing some restructuring. We felt like there's not a need for executives at the director level in the Center of Hope, but we did feel like we didn't actually get a chance to talk about all of the things we felt like. We just felt like there's not a need for executive level, partly because it's a lot of money to pay a director, but partly because we have very little money, and we'd like to put those resources into paid staff that can actually be there more days. We also are facing some federal government regulations that indicate that you can't put people at salary who are functioning in a way that's more hourly, and so we can't expect people to work overtime when we're expecting them to only be getting a certain amount of pay. So all of those complicating factors went into this, not any specific personality issues or anything like that. But I will say that when we told Dr. Linda that the position was going to be eliminated, she said 2 weeks wasn't enough time because we were planning to give her a couple weeks notice and work using that time to talk about what we would need to know about what's going on in the center. And Reverend Dr. Linda decided that she would give us 2 days notice and leave early rather than, if it's really about the people and transition and being thoughtful, rather than staying for the full 2 weeks and partnering with us. And we were just concerned that may have felt like it was just in her initial hurt reaction. We honor her vision and her voice in the community. We just felt strongly that we needed to get the services that Reach offers more integrated into all of our programs so that all of our people visiting all of our services would realize the benefit in a more integrated fashion. And it's tough to understand and see. We pay Reverend Dr. Linda for 20 hours a week, not 10. And that at a director's salary can buy a lot more resources at a hands-on staff level. It's all business, it's all administrative numbers, but then when we look back at our values, it really aligned with that too, because it's about being good stewards with the community's money. The Center of Hope will not close any more than just shorter days. We feel like people can still get breakfast and a lunch meal. We feel like people will be able to come in from the shelters, get things done they need to get done, and our hope is that when we have more money coming in, we can increase the hours again. But we won't skip a beat in terms of opening our doors, not one. I would also just add also that we are closing the meal program warm-ups, because originally that program was for warming people up in the winters. We are regrouping now that we got some grant money. We're just trying in a process of organizing what that program is going to look like, and we're reopening in the fall. So, and we're looking at different ways to get people food that may not necessarily be in that existing location and space, but it will still get them some food midweek. So all of this is not done. It would have been great to actually talk through and work on what a better transition plan would have been, but unfortunately we weren't given that opportunity, and it's tough. I mean, it's hard. I mean, it's emotional. There are some hard feelings. We just assumed that we would work through that. The most important thing here is that when Reverend Dr. Linda and partnered with Maggie and I early on, her plan was to stay 3 years. We actually went into this honest. We went into this thinking Reverend Dr. Linda was planning to stay about 3 years anyway. This is beyond 3 years. Let's talk to her about this, understanding that this is the best way to get more resources to the frontline staff. And when she told me 2 weeks wasn't enough, I said, what is enough? I didn't really get a response. I was expecting to be able to dialogue, and instead, I'm at City Council explaining all of this to you. So I guess I would say, please know that we are 100% committed to the Center of Hope. We have an outpouring of community service, community support as a result of Maggie's communication to the community about this. And don't plan on skipping a beat, hope to get more funds, but want to manage the funds that we do have responsibly. And that's really what this is about. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for being here. And I just want to say, it's very difficult for us. We understand that in any organization, but particularly volunteer organizations, there can be difficulties that come up. And of course, we're not in a position to get involved in that, nor should we. But I'll just tell you that we so much appreciate all that you have done, all that Maggie Breen has done, all that Dr. Smith has done over these years. We know you've made a difference in the lives of a lot of people. We're here to be supportive as much as we can, and hope that maybe some of this, these issues can be worked through with Dr. Smith and Maggie and so on. And so we're here just to continue to be as supportive as we can to your efforts. So thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr.
Yeah,
Clerk.
that's all well said, and I just say that I hope that as we go into next year's budget and we look at our human services, we don't have a huge budget, but we do have a process for allocating budget, and if there's if there's a need for the Center of Hope, I hope that you come forward with that. Obviously, we've really appreciated the services that it's provided.
So thank you very much for being here. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda, we have 19 items for council consideration. Are there any items a council member would like pulled for discussion?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, they're still on the last topic. We've consolidated the requests. I've been asked to remove item J, P, and S. So with that, I move approval of the consent agenda minus items J, P, and S.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Corman, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that the consent agenda be approved minus items J, P, and S. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Corman.
Okay, first off, item J, I'm not sure if somebody from the council wants to speak to that.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person.
this is an item that we have historically done for 30 years for the Renton River Days. And just because of some scheduling of the council time, and if we go through the full process, it'll never get, the fees won't get waived until River Days is over. This is a waiver of the it's about $20,000 in fees, but it's like parking in a garage and things like that, and some other fees for the use of the park. So with that, I would move that item J be passed.
Second?
That's not a very good motion, but.
That's a good motion. That was great, Mr. Person. It's been moved by Mr. Person, second by Mr. Corman, that item J be passed. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes.
Okay, then-
Item P?
Yes, that's me. So the Transportation Committee was briefed on the Canyon lease already, and the Canyon has asked to remain on the airport past the expiration date of their current leases. Since the airport is in the process of completing its master plan update, no immediate redevelopment plans are ready for the parcel of land Canyon is occupying right now. And since this is for a short extension and time sensitive, I would like to move this item go council concur.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Ms. Perez, second by Ms. Witchy, that item P be council concur. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Item S.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. McIrvin.
Yes, so this item is another issue of timeliness as well. We will have to have our stormwater manual updated by the end of the year, December 31st, and it's just a function of the number of meetings between now and then, because it has to be enacted and effective by that date. So in order to get the ball rolling, I would move that we concur with item S.
Okay.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. McIrvin, second by Ms. Perez, that item S be a council concur item. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Person.
I thought item F was mentioned as well.
Oh,
No,
item
I got-
F?
No, I think the council president missed that one, so we'll go to item F.
Can we go to item F?
Okay, yeah, it wasn't circled on mine.
Anyway.
Just a quick update, so that was referred to finance, so I guess
Now
need
it's
to-
circled. Pardon me? That was,
Well, we need to undo what we did.
Yeah.
yeah.
Make a new motion.
Yeah, go ahead and make a
And
motion.
I'll explain it and then make a motion that maybe takes care of all of that. Well, I guess first maybe I could make a motion to reconsider item F tonight.
Second.
Okay, so it's been moved by Mr. Person, second by Mr. Pavoni to reconsider the council, the refer to Finance Committee on item F of the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. So that's pulled off the agenda. Mr. Person.
Now we can go at it. Again, the urgency to get this item done is because we have a couple council meetings we are going to miss. And this means that the Puget Sound access people they're actually filming us right now, and and for our citizens, we'd like to keep them in business and continue to be able so that we can broadcast our meetings and other things. And through a series of events, which are being corrected with new management out there, there is a cash flow problem. And what this is doing is we will renegotiate the lease, or have renegotiated the lease with them to waive some rent, and also to use our monies that we receive that are required to be used from Comcast in our franchise agreement, has to be used for this purpose. So we will be just moving that money over to support that. Also, in addition to this, not affecting the city, is other councils in the area who are part of our consortium are chipping in money to keep Puget Sound Access going. They had originally come in with a 5-year contract. I requested that that contract be reduced to 3 years, and that in 18 months, there's a report back to the council showing the financials and what's going on. And I also requested that they come up with a program for outreach and a business, basically a business plan. How are we going to do business? How are we going to advertise this and get more support from the community? So with all of that, I hope I've tried to explain it. It's a kind of a roundabout thing. I would move that item G.
Item F.
Item F, God, now I'm off. That we concur in the recommendation of the administration to approve of Addendum B to the Carco Theater lease with Puget Sound Access.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Person, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that item F be approved by the council under the consent agenda. Any questions or discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thanks, Mr. Person, for catching that, because that's an important thing. And after all is said and done, the other good thing about it is that we are not subsidizing Carco Theater like we were in the past, and it is being utilized, so we're pretty happy. It does need some additional work, clearly, and this gives them the opportunity to do that.
And I agree with you. The cost of running that theater, if we were to hire full-time staff to run the theater, it'd cost us far more than what we just agreed to, so.
It would, so thank
And
you.
I figured that would have been an extra 150,000, so, you know me, if I get it done cheaper, I'm gonna try.
Okay, thanks. Moving on to unfinished business, Mr. Corman.
And no unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Pavoni.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Public Safety does have one committee report to be read.
Hey, Public Safety Committee report, the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Program. The Public Safety Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to approve the 2015 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant in the amount of $26,587 to help fund the Renton Police Department's Domestic Violence Victim Advocacy Program and provide assistance to victims of domestic violence. This is signed by the committee chair and members.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Mr. Pavoni.
So this is a Justice Assistant Grant that the Police Department receives every year, and it's used for the Renton Police Department Domestic Violence Victim Advocacy Program. With that, I move that the council concur with the findings of the Public Safety Committee.
Second?
It's been moved by Mr. Pavoni, seconded by Mr. Corman, that council concur with the Public Safety Committee report. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Ms. Perez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have one committee report
One report.
to present. Thank you.
Transportation Aviation Committee report, supplemental agreement number 4 to contract 1546 with Petit Incorporated for Sunset Lane and Northeast 10th Street improvements. The Transportation Aviation Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute supplemental agreement number 4 to the consultant agreement 1546 with Petit Incorporated for the Sunset Lane and Northeast 10th Street roadway improvements project. This is signed by the committee chair and members.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Perez.
I move that council concur with the recommended action of the Transportation Committee.
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. Perez, seconded by Ms. Witchy, that council concur with the Transportation Committee report. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you, that's it.
Thank you. Mr. McIrvin.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Ms. Witchy.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
And Mr. Person, I know you've got a couple.
I have 3.
Okay. Finance Committee report, approval of claims and payroll vouchers. The Finance Committee approves for payment on July 11th, 2016, Claims vouchers 348116 through 348489, 5 wire transfers and 1 payroll run with benefit withholding payments totaling $5,870,989.11, and payroll vouchers including 802 direct deposits and 103 payroll checks totaling $1,645,411.73. This is signed by the committee chair and members.
Mr. Mayor, I move the council concur in the recommendation of the Finance Committee.
Second?
It's been moved by Mr. Person, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that council concur with the Finance Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
And the next committee report is regarding the advanced refunding of the 2008 water and sewer revenue bonds. The Finance Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to approve the refinancing plan to issue around $8.3 million with approximately $1.1 million in issuance premium to refinance $8.8 million of the outstanding 2008 water sewer revenue bonds. The committee further recommends the attached ordinance with all the associated documents be presented for first reading and advancement to second and final reading at tonight's meeting. This is signed by the committee chair and members.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person.
this refinancing will end up saving us $870,000 over the life of these bonds. And I want to compliment the finance staff and Ewan for bringing this forward and doing it. I know it's a lot of hard work went into this. With that, I move that the council concur with the Finance Committee report.
Second?
It's been moved by Mr. Person, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that council concur with the Finance Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, the final Finance Committee report is regarding job order contractors. The Finance Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to approve entering into a new 2-year job order contract with, can I clarify, was there
There
one?
should be 2 names on the report. I only see one.
Yeah, one is missing. What,
Kelly could maybe fill us in.
okay.
If you want to go back, if I get out of this fast
Which
enough.
names are on the report?
Just former construction.
So the other one is Sabre, S-A-B-Y-R.
Yeah, Sabre.
Sabre Construction?
Correct.
Okay. Mr. Person, may I read it with both names?
Yes, please.
Okay. So entering into 2 new 2-year job order contract agreements with Former Construction and Sabre Construction to replace the old job order contract, which expires on July 16, 2016. The committee further recommends that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to sign the agreements.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person.
the addition of the second construction company, I move the council concur in the committee report.
Second?
It's been moved by Mr. Person, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that council concur with the Finance Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, thank you. Mr. Prince.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, moving on to legislation, we have an ordinance for first reading and 3 for second and final.
Okay, this first ordinance is regarding the bond. It's for first reading and advancement to second reading. So it's an ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, authorizing the issuance of a water and sewer revenue refunding bond in the aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $9.5 million for the purpose of refunding a portion of the city's water and sewer revenue bonds, Series 2008A, providing the form, terms, and covenants of the bond, delegating certain authority to approve the final terms of the bond, and authorizing other matters related thereto.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person.
I move the ordinance be advanced to second and final reading this evening.
Second?
It's been moved by Mr. Person, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that this ordinance be placed on second and final reading this evening. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay, one more time. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, authorizing the issuance of a water and sewer revenue refunding bond in the aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $9.5 million for the purpose of refunding a portion of the city's water and sewer revenue bonds, Series 2008A, providing the form, terms, and covenants of the bond, delegating certain authority to approve the final terms of the bond, and authorizing other matters related thereto.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person.
I move the ordinance be adopted as read.
Second?
It's been moved by Mr. Person, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that this ordinance be adopted as read. Requires a roll call.
Mr. Corman?
Aye.
Mr. Pavoni?
Aye.
Ms. Perez?
Aye.
Mr. McIrvin?
Aye.
Ms. Witchy?
Aye.
Mr. Person?
Aye.
Mr. Prince?
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all ayes.
The ayes have it.
Okay, the next ordinance is for second and final reading regarding the sidewalk construction code. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, repealing Chapter 8 sidewalk construction of Title 9 Public Ways and Property of the Renton Municipal Code and replacing it with a new Chapter 9-8 sidewalk maintenance and construction.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
I move the ordinance be adopted as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, second by Mr. McGurven, that this ordinance be adopted as read. Also requires a roll call.
Hey, Mr. Corman?
Aye.
Mr. Pavoni?
Aye.
Ms. Perez?
Aye.
Mr. McIrvin?
Aye.
Ms. Witchy?
Aye.
Mr. Person?
Aye.
Mr. Prince?
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor. All ayes.
All ayes. The ayes have it. Thanks.
Okay, the next one is for, let's see, the Uniform and International Codes, amending the construction code. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending sections 4520, 4550, 4551, 4555, 4560, 4590, 45100, 45110, and 45130 of Chapter 5, Building and Fire Prevention Standards of Title 4 Development Regulations of the City Code, adopting by reference and amending the most recent editions of state, national, uniform, and international codes, and amending the Construction Administrative Code.
Mr. Mayor,
Was that Mr. Prince?
yes. Move the ordinance be adopted as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, second by Mr. Corman, that this ordinance be adopted as read, and it requires a roll call.
Hey, Mr. Corman?
Aye.
Mr. Pavoni?
Aye.
Ms. Perez?
Aye.
Mr. McIrvin?
Aye.
Ms. Witchy?
Aye.
Mr. Person?
Aye.
Mr. Prince?
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all ayes.
The ayes have it.
Okay, the final ordinance is regarding a rezone. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, changing the zoning classification of certain property within the City of Renton, parcel number 863710-0440, from residential 10 units per net acre, R10, to residential 14 units per net acre, R14. File number LUA 15000745.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
I move the ordinance be adopted as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, seconded by Mr. McIrvin, that this ordinance be adopted as read and requires a roll call.
Hey, Mr. Corman?
Aye.
Mr. Pavoni?
Aye.
Ms. Perez?
Aye.
Mr. McIrvin?
Aye.
Ms. Witchy?
Aye.
Mr. Person?
Aye.
Mr. Prince?
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all ayes.
The ayes have it. Thank you very much, Jason. Moving on to new business, Mr. Corman.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to start by just announcing formally a couple of council meeting cancellations. The first is July 18th. There will be no council meeting that day. It's a council holiday. We'll take a little bit of a summer break here. And then also Monday, July 25th. Again, there will be no council meeting that day. And then lastly, I would like to announce that on August 1st, that's a Monday, we'll be having a committee of the whole meeting at 5:00 p.m. here in the council chambers. 3 items on that agenda. The first is master plan review. The second is Kennydale Water Tower / Fire Station 15 construction update. And the third item is for the Love of Renton follow-up. And that's all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Corman. Mr. Pavoni.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Ms. Perez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On Monday, August 1st at 4:30, the Transportation Committee will be held at on the Council Conference Room. And there are 2 items in the agenda. The first one will be a cyclical, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, lease for travel time data collection. And the second one is emerging issues in transportation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. McIrvin.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. On Monday, August 1st at 4 p.m., there'll be a Utilities Committee meeting in the Council Conference Room. 3 items on the agenda. Harrington Avenue Northeast Stormwater Retrofit Project Grant Agreement, Kennydale 320 Reservoir Project Pre-Design, and T-Mobile West LLC Franchise Agreement. That is all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Witchy.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have 2 items. This Thursday, July 14th at 4 p.m., the Community Services Committee will be meeting in the council conference room. We have 2 items on the agenda. The first is the Municipal Arts Commission appointment of Aaron Blalick, and the second item is a Municipal Arts Commission update. And the Community Services Committee meeting scheduled for Thursday, July 28th has been canceled.
Excuse me. Okay, thank you. Mr. Person?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have two items. One is, I was wondering if on August 1st that we could have an update on where the contract negotiations are with Republic Services.
Okay.
And, forgot, said left. Oh, I'm so happy, I just want to let everybody know that we got, this council gets a readout of all the real estate excise tax that were paid in the, on a monthly basis, and thanks, Ms. Witchy, for helping us. But because it, three big sales of a property, one was 3 million, another one was, I think, 3.4, another one was in the high 70 million. We are doing very well on REIT taxes this year, and that's a refreshing piece of information.
And just to clarify, none of those were mine.
I was kind of wondering which one was
Thanks for
your
the 70
house.
million, see ya.
Yours was a $1.4 million house.
Mr. Person, just to clarify, did you want this contract update to be at the council meeting?
For Committee of the Whole.
Well, if we could do it, looks like we got plenty of time at the committee of the whole. I don't want to, I don't think it's necessary that we have a big elaborate production, but it's
Okay.
something that we're,
So we'll add that to the committee of the
Yeah.
whole on August 1st, okay? Sounds good. All right, Mr. Prince.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On Thursday, July 14th at 3 p.m., the Planning and Development Committee will be meeting in the council conference room. There are 3 items on the agenda. The Sunset Plan Action Ordinance, Low-Impact Development Principles and Practices, and Emerging Issues. Also on Thursday, July 28th in council chambers, the Planning and Development Committee will be meeting at 3 p.m. for the Ivana Ridge appeal. And that is all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. What's the wish of the council?
Move we adjourn.
Second?
Moved by Mr. Prince, second by Mr. Pavoni, that we adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.